Terrorism in the 19th century. Terrorism, as we understand it today, was not as prevalent or well defined in the 19th century as it is in the modern world. However, there were instances of political violence and acts that could be considered as early forms of terrorism during that period. It's important to note that the concept of terrorism has evolved over time, and its definition can vary depending on the context and perspective. Here are a few examples of notable incidents that occurred in the 19th century, which some historians might categorize as acts of terrorism. 1. Fenian Brotherhood. The Fenian Brotherhood was an Irish nationalist organization founded in 1858 with the aim of establishing an independent Irish republic. Fenians carried out a series of bombings, assassinations, and raids in Ireland and Britain during the 19th century. Their actions were targeted at British authorities and symbols of British power. 2. Narodnaya Volya, or the People's Will, was a Russian revolutionary group active in the late 19th century. The group aimed to overthrow the autocratic Tsarist regime and carried out a campaign of assassinations, including successful attacks on Tsar Alexander II in 1881 and Interior Minister Dmitry Sergeyevich Tolstoy in 1880. 3. Anarchist movements. The 19th century saw the rise of anarchist movements advocating for the abolition of the state and hierarchical authority. Some anarchist individuals and groups engaged in violent acts, including bombings and assassinations, in pursuit of their goals. Notable incidents include the Haymarket Affair in Chicago in 1886, where a bomb was detonated during a labor protest, leading to deaths and subsequent arrests. It's worth mentioning that the term terrorism as we know it today was not widely used in the 19th century. The understanding and classification of political violence and revolutionary acts have evolved over time. The context, motivations, and ideological underpinnings of these incidents varied, making it difficult to draw direct comparisons with modern-day terrorism. Terrorist victimization and victims of terrorism. Terrorist victimization refers to the act of being targeted or affected by acts of terrorism. Victims of terrorism are individuals, groups, or communities who have suffered harm, injury, or loss as a result of terrorist acts. Terrorism can cause physical injuries, psychological trauma, loss of life, property damage, and social and economic disruptions. Victims of terrorism can include 1. Civilians. Innocent civilians are often the primary targets of terrorist attacks. They may be targeted indiscriminately or deliberately to instill fear, create panic, or advance the political or ideological objectives of the terrorists. Civilians can be affected directly through injuries or fatalities, or indirectly through the loss of loved ones or property. 2. Security personnel. Police officers, military personnel, and other security forces are often targeted by terrorists. These individuals are on the front lines in the fight against terrorism and may become victims while carrying out their duties or during targeted attacks against security installations. 3. Government officials. High-ranking government officials, politicians, diplomats, and public figures may become victims of terrorism due to their prominence or involvement in policy making and governance. Assassinations or kidnappings of government officials have been used as tactics to undermine the state and disrupt governance. 4. Journalists and media workers. Journalists and media workers reporting on conflict zones or areas affected by terrorism face significant risks. They may be targeted by terrorists who seek to control information, suppress free press, or use them as bargaining chips for their demands. 5. Religious and ethnic minorities. Terrorist groups often target specific religious or ethnic communities as a means to incite violence, fuel sectarian tensions, or advance their extremist ideologies. These communities may suffer from systematic persecution, forced displacement, or mass violence. 6. International travelers. Terrorism can impact people traveling abroad, especially in regions prone to terrorist activities. Attacks on transportation infrastructure, such as bombings of airports, train stations, or buses, can cause harm to both domestic and foreign travelers. 7. Children and vulnerable populations. Children and vulnerable populations, such as refugees, internally displaced persons, or marginalized communities, are particularly susceptible to the effects of terrorism. They may experience long-lasting physical and psychological trauma, displacement, and limited access to essential services. It's important to recognize the diverse range of victims affected by terrorism and address their needs through support, rehabilitation, and justice mechanisms. Efforts to prevent terrorism, promote peace, and foster resilience in affected communities are crucial in combating the impact of terrorism on individuals and societies as a whole.